Hi folks, it's Farmer Tom here. Hope you're really well. It is Monday the 15th of February. We've had 14 days of the Cheese a Day Challenge and we've got 14 to come. We're on the back nine, the first day of the second half, day 15. And we've had a fantastic first 14 cheeses. Haven't they been absolutely amazing? Hope you've enjoyed them even half as much as I have. Today's cheese, I'm sure, is going to really satisfy as well. Cheese number 15, curiously shaped cheese number 15. And I'm delighted also to say that we've got the Director General of the NFU tasting with us today. The NFU, of course, getting involved in all things farming, food and countryside related will no doubt have a big impact on the future of cheese making and the dairy industry in the UK. So I'm delighted to
welcome Terry Jones. It's great to have you tasting with us today. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hi Tom, great to join you and really looking forward to getting into this delicious looking cheese.
Oh, me too. And it's great. Obviously, as Director General of the NFU, you get involved in all areas of farming, and cheese making will be one of them. Although I've been tipped off, you've got a little bit more of an interest in cheese making in your past history. Tell me about that.
Well, I do. I had a brief stint, about 18 months, as secretary to the Specialist Cheesemakers Association. So I've been watching your Twitter clips over the last few days, and all of those great cheese making businesses I used to be my members. And I had when the cheese arrived this morning, I had this lovely note from Tim Jones at Lincolnshire Poacher accompanying the cheese, and Tim was my chairman when I was secretary. So I have to say I've got a real soft spot, if you pardon the pun, for this industry, because there's some really fantastic products made by some great people, and it was a part of the job I loved, I have to say, because I got to go all over the country, tasting cheese, judging cheese, and meeting the great producers of it.
Oh, that sounds like a great job. Oh, I could do. I think I could work my way up to that.
Yeah.
It's been amazing over the last few days, just meeting farmers and cheesemakers, and from the length and the breadth of the British Isles, and it really seems to be just a beautiful, tight knit community. I rarely ever speak to someone with them out and refer, well, so and so, and Tim Jones and Johnny Crickmore and so and this person, and it seems to be a really tight knit community. Was that your experience at the when you were working in what was the name of the organisation?
Specialist Cheesemakers Association. Yeah, look, absolutely. And what I thought was always amazing, there was this great sense of helping new starters, and businesses in their infancy were for want of a better word, mentored by the long-established cheese businesses. But also there was this phenomenal technical committee there as well. So. And this is no exaggeration, hundreds of years of experience in dairy technical issues, helping people with what are quite complex issues, because of course so many of these cheeses are made from raw milk, and from a regulatory point of view, those are some quite difficult barriers to get over. But with the sort of peer-to-peer support plus that amazing technical support, these guys were, going from, very, very small production to, quite significant businesses in quite short spaces of time. And there was never really a sense of people being in competition with one another. They all seemed to be, the sort of pursuit of this kind of rich diversity of cheese right across the United Kingdom seemed to be what everybody was into. And I think, we're probably in excess of 1,000 cheeses in the UK, and it's in no small part to all of that fantastic collaborative working that we saw.
Yeah, farming is the fourth industry I've worked in, and even as a farmer's son, I kind of thought it would be a little bit, who are you, and a bit, like that. And it was, I got the most warm welcome into farming, and I've really just got that impression from cheesemakers. They are, they're encouraging each other on. They're promoting, they're sharing. There's it's a real kind of selfless, wonderful, diverse community, which is so heartening to see. And I think has come across at some of the stories that we've shared, and I don't know whether I can get kind of deep down and emotional, but I think it comes across in the cheese as well, because there's a lot of love and a lot of as you say, experience going into this cheese making.
I kind of miss all of that. It was great fun and great people, and it's great to come back to this.
Well, it does seem to be a fascinating industry, and it's been great to kind of to lift the lid, really. We heard that one of the very famous French chefs has described the Tunworth as the I think the best camembert, the world's best camembert. So do you think? Well, let's put ourselves out here. Do you think that British cheeses, British and Irish cheeses now have the besting of some of the more famous, or perhaps previously more famous cheese nations?
I think they're in with a really good shout. I mean, you've just mentioned a fantastic cheese there that I've got a real soft spot for. I think the diversity and the quality and the stories that sit behind British cheese, really do mark it out now. And it's a fantastic part of our food armory. When you look at where we want to get to on exports and so on, that British cheese is going to be, is the envy of the world, and absolutely is going to sell on the strength of its story and its standards and the love and the care that goes into it. So I think we're absolutely up there.
Yeah, I think, and as you say, in a great place for the future. One of the things I've learned, or certainly I've kind of come to me as we've tasted cheeses, is we define our cheeses as hard, soft, and blue, or cow's milk, sheep's milk, or goat's milk, and yet that just doesn't do it justice. There's so much diversity even within those areas. That of course comes from, as Patrick mentioned the other day, the terroir and the different techniques, the coating, everything else that goes into it. So it's clearly a very exciting place to be.
I think so, and look, you'd see it at its best when on the rare occasions I got to judge at things like the World Cheese Awards run by the Guild of Fine Foods, and British cheese stands out, and the variety of cheeses both in the UK and beyond was there for all to see. But actually, I can count the number of occasions on one hand where I tasted a Duff British cheese, and there were, you can imagine, I think there's something like 4,000 cheeses judged at WCA. There are some stinkers there, but I'm very pleased to say that none of them were British.
Oh, I'm delighted as well. And obviously now with your role at the NFU, you haven't completely stepped away from the world of cheese, because the NFU obviously involved in all branches of farming, and clearly very, very closely linked to the future of cheese making and dairy farming in the UK. How do you see that progressing?
So look, I think this is quite an exciting time in many respects. I mean, I've along with lots of others heaved a huge sigh of relief that we've got a deal with the EU, so we have at least got free trade. I mean, that's not to say it's frictionless, and I've spent quite a bit of time since the turn of the year helping small producers to get over some of the barriers that they're encountering, and our teams work quite hard on issues relating to export health certificates, veterinary inspections, finding customs agents and so on. But look, I think most of those, not all of them, some of them are completely intractable. We've got some members who are sending cheese on a sort of B2C basis to the continent, and they're really struggling. But otherwise, I think most of the issues we can deal with, and we continue to work quite closely with DEFRA on. But there's so much that we've got to market our produce on that global stage. Our standards, we've done the benchmarking. There's some of the highest in the world, and we should make a great virtue of those. I mean, some uncertainty obviously relating to what the future support system looks like, and we're working as closely as we can with DEFRA on the co-design of ELM and so on. But look, I think there's a lot to go at. I mean, I think it's particularly at the start of your farming career, I think the 2020s looks to me to be an exciting time. Loads of technology, loads of innovation to get your hands on, and maybe even us embracing some technology and innovation for the right reasons that maybe we've been held back from getting hold of in the past. So I think it's an exciting time, and we've just got to make sure we can do whatever we can to create as good a farming future for our members as possible.
Yeah, and really, cheese is surely, having a bit of a history of marketing. Cheese is the marketeer's dream. The story, the narrative that comes with cheese making. You know, not only the history, but the natural history of it as well. I think you know, it's an exciting place to be.
There's a story behind every block, and you know, there's some real characters in this industry as well, and it, you know, as you say, marketer's dream.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's great to have somebody who's kind of operating and influencing at your level to taste with. One of the stories that's been going recently is about the Northern Irish border and how actually people are really struggling to get their exports across from what we term mainland across to Northern Ireland. How are you seeing that, and how do you see that progressing?
Look, I think I mean, there's been a lot of correspondence between Michael Gove and the Commissioner in recent days. The heat has been taken out of this, but I think the message is still the same. The Northern Ireland Protocol hasn't got a lot of wriggle room in it. But what I do detect amongst DEFRA colleagues, but also Cabinet Office colleagues, is that people are trying to do everything that they can to ensure that we make this system as simple as we can. The big threat to our industry is that if it continues to be tough, it continues to be difficult, particularly to move products from animal origin, of course that's what we're tasting tonight, then I think particularly retailers and others that operate food businesses in Northern Ireland that are currently supplied from GB may switch their sourcing, and we'll see product come from the Republic and others in other parts of the EU. And I think that would be a great shame, because, you know, we've got a long-standing supply routes into Northern Ireland. I have to say, I mean, the professionalism that I see daily from government colleagues in trying to get this sorted on both sides of the Irish Sea is second to none. And, you know, we just have to hope that common sense prevails.
Well, that's really heartening, because, you know, obviously there are a lot of consumers potentially affected by this, and as we've already said, you know, a cheese is not a cheese. It's you know, it's a Baron Bigod or a Tunworth or a Hafford, or, you know, you know, you can't just replace it with something else off the shelf when you know, when you're talking about that terroir or that you know, that identity or that story. So yeah, it's definitely something which will be good to get resolved. Talking of getting things resolved, how about we get this resolved? And, you know, I've just realised I'm such a layman. I've left my cheese knife, so I'm going to go and grab that.
I've got mine.
And we'll, I just hold that up again. That's a great cheese knife. Oh, I didn't know I had cheese knife envy, but I do now. Right, I'll go and grab mine, and then we'll hack in. Right, I have my weapon, and I've now fully unwrapped. Look at that beauty there. This is a Tour cheese. It is a fresh lactic goat's cheese formed in a pyramid, and you know more about this, Terry, than I do, but it's got a unique Geotrichum rind. Geotrichum, and that's a type of fungus which apparently takes the acidity out of the well, I suppose out of the curd, but out of the cheese, and allows other funguses to operate on the surface of cheese to give us the flavour. So, but it certainly gives it an amazing colour to it, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely beautiful. That'll keep the kids off it. They wouldn't go for that, would they?
No, I think mine would turn their nose up at this.
Oh, it looks absolutely fantastic. And of course,
all the more for me.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It was in the locked box anyway, wasn't it? So yeah. But amazingly, I mean, and it's obviously, well, it's not obviously, but my reading tells me, you know, formed in the shape of Glastonbury Tor. So
of course,
when you talk about, you know, heritage, there's a literal representation of that heritage as well. So
yeah,
amazing.
And this is sort of made in the shadow of the Tor, isn't it? I mean, you can see, from Bagborough Farm, I think you can see Glastonbury Tor. So yeah,
there we go. Well, shall we see what it tastes like? I don't know. I'm not very good at describing things, but do you know, it's quite a distinctive smell. It's quite a strong variation on a goat's cheese smell, on a goat's cheese smell. Oh, lovely. Yeah. Right. Let's get into that.
Go for it.
Is there a Parson's nose on this cheese? I've no idea where it is. You're not supposed to cut it off, are you? But
no, I'm going to start at the base. I'm going to sort of take the.
That's right.
Take the corner off here.
Right. Cheers. Your very good health. I don't know whether we can even do this with a bit of cheese.
Cheers.
Oh wow, that's got a lovely flavour. It's a lot soft. It's quite a firm cheese when you hold it, but it's really soft in the mouth.
Yeah.
Mm.
You getting a little bit of lemon? Just
Yeah, actually, right at the back, and it's almost got I don't know. It's like got a bit of kind of salad greens about it, or it's certainly very vegetal.
Yeah.
I normally do my research and find out what the kind of official tasting notes are, so that I can just agree with them and retain some kind of semblance of cheese knowledge. But I don't have any. But I think we've come up with a couple of great notes there. I remember when I think it was when we were talking with Johnny Crickmore. He was talking about the different tastes, the rind, the centre, and actually even in between the rind and the centre. So I'm going to just taste them separately as well. What's your how do you normally take your cheese? Do you have a nice glass of wine with it, or
Well, if I were at the Cheese Awards, then you'd be hitting the water and the apples quite hard and just trying to clear your palate all the time. But
that's lovely.
I have to say a glass of port or a good dessert wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our honeymoon in France. We were married about 10 years, and I've great sort of memories of picnics various times and our week away. And pretty much without fail, it was cheese and dessert wine. It was
Du pain du vin du Boursin or something like that. Yeah.
Well, hopefully slightly better than that. But
well, Terry, have you been married 10 years? You're surely going back for the 10-year anniversary.
Well, it was 10 years last year or the year before, and we failed miserably to get organised. So I think we just ended up with a night in Chester, which was very nice. But yeah, we really wanted to go back to Paris and do the whole thing again. But yeah, wasn't to be this time.
But now France is kind of one of the kind of low countries in the world of cheese making. You'll be wanting to go back to Chester again, I'm sure, because actually there's some lovely cheeses up in Cheshire. In fact, you're probably a cheese tour of the United Kingdom.
Do you know that's not a bad idea actually? Yeah, I could live with that. I mean, yeah.
Would it be?
There's probably a business there. There's probably a business, isn't there, of cheese safaris?
Yeah. Or cheese hunting. I mean, they're quite easy to catch. But
yeah,
that's amazing. Actually, do you know that the centre of that cheese is absolutely. I thought the flavour might be the kind of punch of the flavour might be in the rind, but actually it's flavoured throughout. Even the centre has just got a beautiful, beautiful flavour.
Yeah. Yeah, to what you were saying about the three levels. I mean, you can see a distinct. You've got the rind, and then you have got that sort of 5-6 mil, and then the sort of main body of the cheese. It's not quite as pronounced as you would see in Baron Bigod, as you were saying the other day. But this is just full of flavour. It's lovely,
and it's almost slightly gooier under the rind. And I'm assuming I don't know anything, but I'm assuming that's the kind of molds just starting to work into the body of the cheese. So you're right. You've got those three zones.
Yeah. I'm going to try a little bit on a cracker now, just to see how it goes.
Yeah. Do you know I had a very boring cheese history, and probably would say no to most forms of cheese. Certainly, blue, I wasn't a fan. Goat's cheese, no, thank you. Sheep's cheese, whatever. And this has just completely turned my head. I mean, this is it's just remarkable. I wonder how many people in the UK there are, or there have been like me, who would just say, cheese, well, that's cheddar. And that's it. You either like it or you don't. Whereas there's just this huge diversity.
I mean, there's some evidence to say that people have been more adventurous during lockdown and have sought out some of these great products. And I think some of the big retailers and some of the other outlets have started to do things to make artisan products like this more accessible. even during lockdown, and that's great because I think people, there is evidence to suggest that people have wanted to have a restaurant type experience or a special experience at home.
Well, what better way to create a restaurant experience at home than having 2 or 3 fantastic cheeses? I mean, this is for me. It's a Monday, Monday lunchtime. It's just what a treat already.
Yeah,
this should be a Saturday night. It's and yet we've been doing this throughout the month of February, is having standout cheeses, and some people have been having them standing in a field by their tractor. Others have been having them, on a bit of bread at tea time with the kids. Others, they're all kind of high day and holiday experiences. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, actually, it's a bit decadent. Actually, I think we've rather, Monday lunchtime eating a cheese like this. I mean, it feels a bit OTT, but I'd happily do this every Monday.
Yes, all right, I'll meet you there, no problem. How fantastic is that? Gosh, right, wonderful. So there's clearly a massive opportunity in the future for developing exports all around the world of these amazing British cheeses. But do you think that the opportunity is realised at the high levels of government where it really counts?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I co-chair the Food and Drink Sector Council with Ian Wright from FDF, and exports is one of the big sort of themes of the strategy that we've got. And there's a lot of work being done on it. And certainly, when Minette has met the PM and in our regular discussions with George Eustice, I think there is a real hunger there and a real, I think, recognition that we could do even better on exports than we do today. We're quite focused on the home market, and we can get even more of these great products into export markets. We've obviously got a few conference coming up in a week's time, and I think that'll be with Liz Truss on the stage. I think she'll want to set out a very clear vision for exports in the future. A lot of the discussions of the last year have been around the standards of imports, and quite rightly so. But I think the government now, with the transition period ended, is going to really want to look ahead. And certainly, I think there's a real hunger and desire amongst British farmers and amongst British food producers to get these great products onto more dinner plates in more countries. So, yeah, watch this space.
Brilliant! What an opportunity. We should have invited her to be part of the Cheese a Day challenge. That would have been a great opportunity there. I'm slightly kicking myself. Although last week we had Janet Hughes of DEFRA, who's a big tourophile. I've only just learnt that word. Who's a big tourophile, and there clearly are some cheese lovers in those echelons. And in fact, actually, a week last Saturday, we had Joe Bangles, who has become famous on social media. All he does is ask famous people what their favourite cheeses are. So you've inspired me. I'm going to go away and find out, see if he knows what Liz Truss's favourite cheese is.
Yeah, no, I think you should do that. I'll follow Joe as well, and I think he could have a concerted campaign of asking British politicians about cheese. That'd be awesome.
I'm going to have a look on his website, and I'll post it on the link to this video if I can find it. And I'll have a look at George Eustice and Boris Johnson while I'm there. I'm sure Bojo has a good taste for fine cheeses. So
I'm sure
we'll see if he's got an unusual favourite.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think you should start with this one because it's outstanding. I've nearly finished a block that's probably designed for a family of 4 to consume over an entire week, and most of it's gone west.
It's a generous portion, isn't it? Generous portion.
It is. But
so I mean, I feel like it's one of those cheeses it's going to be difficult to put a number to. But can you give me a mark out of 10? You are allowed to use fractions and decimals because I know it's important when we're at this end of cheese tasting.
Well, it's a goat's cheese, and I'm not really into goat's cheese. However, this is such a standout example of within the world of goat's cheese. I'm going to give this a 9.5.
Oh, there we are. Well, folks, you heard it here first. 9.5 from a former World Cheese Award cheese tasting judge. That's a massive accolade. I mean, do you know what? It's not surprising. This is I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I will be attempting to impress people with my cheese board in the future, and it'll definitely contain the White Lake Cheese Company Tour cheese. Brilliant. Well, it's been an absolute joy on a cheese level and on a personal level to hear from you, Terry. Thank you so much for joining us for this beautiful Monday cheese tasting. What a decadent Monday this has been.
Tom, thank you so much for having me. And look, really good luck with the rest of the Cheese a Day challenge. And I can't wait to see what you taste next and maybe try it myself. So yeah, good luck.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Cheers.